In order for society to function smoothly, any act considered a crime must be punished accordingly, acting as a deterrent to others who may be considering this type of behaviour. Many different varieties of crime exist, with some being classed under different disciplines, such as crimes that have detrimental effects on the surrounding environment, and crimes that interfere with the politics of a country or countries. Both are, in their own right, extremely detrimental to society, and people must be prevented from committing them. There is a vast array of ways people can commit an environmental crime, such as the illegal dumping of waste and the exotic animal trade. Both of these actions cause disruption in the environment where they take place, with illegal dumping introducing potentially toxic chemicals and materials to otherwise pristine areas, and the illegal animal trade potentially resulting in the extinction of some species. The most common forms of punishment and deterrence for illegal dumping are fines and establishing legal waste transfer stations, while education or imprisonment are more common ways to deter participation in wildlife trade. On the other hand, political crimes basically involve the refusal to comply with any laws put in place to keep the peace globally, to prevent any conflicts between countries. The most common deterrent or punishment applied in these circumstances is a sanction, more specifically an economic sanction, which prevents trade and other resources between the guilty country and other parties. However, if these sanctions do not work, some more powerful countries use a threat of invasion or nuclear attacks to curb the criminal behaviour of a nation. War is another threat to both political and environmental well-being, depleting both natural resources and causing unrest between nations, as well as climate change, which again can destroy resources used to keep society running smoothly. As stated before, there is a wide range of acts that fall into the category of environmental crime, with varying levels of severity. Environmental crime can be defined as any act that has a significant impact on matters of national environmental significance, providing a clear parameter for judging whether a certain behaviour falls into the category. Illegal dumping of waste is an issue that arises quite often in Australia, as there are a lot of isolated places where it may not be discovered until harm has been done to the environment. It often happens as a result of lack of council permits for access to a tip, or because the waste may not be produced legally. As a result of this, there is a section of each state's Environmental Protection Authority called the Illegal Dumping Unit, specifically set up to deal with these types of offences. The Protection of the Environment Operations Act 1997, section 143, outlines the punishment for any breaking of these laws as fines of up to $500,000 for individuals and $2 million for corporations. Other deterrents include the confiscation of any of the profits from the harbouring of illegal waste to prevent financial motivations. Another deterrent is obviously the establishment of council-controlled tips, which allows for a legal alternative for the disposal of waste. A different form of environmental crime is the exotic animal trade, which generally speaking is carried out in countries where other forms of income are few and far between. It's an extremely lucrative business, some people willing to pay large sums of money to acquire an animal or a certain body part of said animal. Although this trade is mainly carried out in places other than Australia, regulations on the importation of exotic animals are extremely tight. The maximum punishment carries a 10-year jail term, highlighting how important putting a stop to these activities is. As a major proportion of this trade occurs in poorer nations, there is little education available for citizens on the environmental impact. The lack of money in these countries may be a factor in the trade of animals as a source of income, so it is difficult to put a stop to it. However, punishment is not always the correct way to put a stop to criminal behaviour. In some poorer countries where this type of trade occurs, a technique has been discussed which focuses on the education of poachers in these areas by government officials, which would help them understand the impacts of their actions, deterring them from continuing it on.